Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I'm gonna be doing a little polling guide as well as a strategy for polling in Arknights Enfield, and I'm gonna be showing my strategy for how I'm gonna poll in this game going forward. And I hope to help some people who may not still be comfortable with this banner system in Enfield, or how the PDs and things like that work. I'm gonna first be explaining how the banner works in this game in a bare bones explanation, right? Simplified. And then I'm gonna be moving towards my polling guide, like how I at least will poll in this game. And if you already know how the banner works, just skip to this portion, if you want to see the strategy that I'm talking about. But if not, we'll explain it right now. Like, the first thing you need to know is that you need 120 polls to guarantee a character in Enfield, that being 60,000 oro barrel, and that this PD does not transfer toward any banner. You need 120 pulls to guarantee the character from the banner, but if you don't pull 120 times, it will be kind of like a waste, depending of whether or not you get the banner character earlier. But anyway, so if you want to guarantee the character, if you don't get it like early, you need 120 pulls, and you need to pull it during the character's banner, because it's not going to transfer, the PD is not going to go to the next banner or anything like that. Like, the most important thing to do in this game is save your pulls for the characters you want. It's 120 pulls to guarantee the character from the banner, and it's like there's a overall like a 80 pulls to guarantee any 6-star operator, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember if it is only the characters that are here. I believe it can also be the characters from the standard banner in the 6-star operator PD, right? But one thing I'm sure is that anytime you get a 6-star operator before the guaranteed, it is always a 50-50, whether you get the character from the banner or not as the 6-star operator, So maybe you are like at 20 pulls and you get a 6-star operator, or get really lucky, or maybe this is very low already because you pulled before and then this transfer to the other banner, right? Because this one does transfer to other banners, but this one doesn't, right? The guarantee doesn't, but the 50-50 does move on to other banners. I'm gonna be talking about that in a little bit, but let's say you pull 20 times and you get a 6-star operator, and that 6-star operator is the character from the banner, then the guaranteed will reset. We will go back to 120 pulls. But if you pull like 30 times, you get a 6-star operator, but you lose the 50-50, then this guaranteed PD will continue to move forward, but this one right here will reset in both cases. If you get a 6-star operator, this will reset, but if it's not the one from the banner, then this one will keep going, until you get it. So it's 100 pulls to guarantee the character from the banner, which is 60,000 gems, but you can get it earlier through the 50-50s. And when you were pulling, there are some funny things that happen, right? Like, when you get to the 30th pull, you get 10 free pulls that do not count towards the guarantee PD, and I believe they also don't count toward this, so they are just like 10 pulls that are like completely up to luck, basically. And then you have the, when you get to 60 pulls, you get a headhunting dossier, which already gives you 10 free pulls for the next banner. And these 10 pulls, they do count towards the PD for that banner. When you get to 60 pulls in this banner, you get 10 free pulls on the next one that do count toward the PD. And then, there's like the 80 attempts, which, if this is like at 80, when you get to the 80th attempt, or maybe 70th attempt, or maybe 69, you will get the 6-star operator. And that will be your first 50-50 until you get to 120 and guarantee, if you didn't get it before, And then I think they're gonna do it for every single banner, but in every single banner so far, there has been a little weekly event where if you log in for 7 days, you get 5 pulls for the featured banner, So that would be 5 pulls of this type of permit for Gilberto's banner, I don't know if it's Gilberta or Gilberta. And the other 5 you get to the quota exchange here, you know, with the excess constellations for the characters you have. Then you can come here and buy 5 more, and then you have 10 free pulls. But these are like, they only last until the banner lasts. Even if you're not planning on pulling on that banner, if you have this, you should pull, because like they'll just be gone if you don't. That's what I did in Levitane's banner when I was first playing. You know, when the game just started, I pulled 10 times because, you know, if I didn't, they would just be gone. And that's more or less the very basic bare bones things that you need to know about the banner system in Arknights. You know, there are some other things that they put in the flow chart, that they made to explain the pulls, but personally I think this is like the bare bones that you need to know how to pull in the Arknights, you know. So, and the headhunting dossier that you get from the 60 pulls, where we get 10 free pulls to the next banner, they become like, the headhunting dossier becomes 10 pulls of this type, I believe. So if you don't pull those 10 free pulls as well, right, because you pulled 60 times, it is worth just pulling, because if you don't, they will just be gone. So anyway, that's the basics of the banner. It's not that complicated. It's not that bad as some people are claiming it to be, you know, like the worst gacha system in any game, in like any gacha game. Like, it's not. It is just save your pulls, pull when you have to, or when you want a character. And that's why I need to like be smart with my pull. And this is where my strategy guide for pulling comes in. So basically, my idea, right, I'm saving for Yvonne. Like, I already have a idea for a team for her, but basically I'm saving for Yvonne. You know, her banner starts in like less than 6 hours, and I want to pull for her. So I've been saving since the start of the game for her. So what I decided to do is, since Gilberta's banner, you know, comes before her, and Gilberta is like pretty good support. She even has like this thing where she pulls enemies together. So she's like pretty good support, and her skill is pretty good as well. I thought, I'm gonna pull 60 times or 70. I'm gonna pull until I get the 6-star operator, and then I will still have enough pulls to guarantee Yvonne, you know, because basically I had 10 of these limited time permits during Levitane's banner. By the way, I also don't know how to pronounce Leviathan, I don't know. I had 10 pulls of this type, the limited time one, and then I pulled 10 times. And this PD, this one stayed, you know, it went from 80 to 70. So I thought I'll pull 70 times or 60, you know, to get the hand hunting dossier, you know, that will give me 10 extra pulls for the Yvonne's banner, you know. So in Gilberta's banner, I pulled 60 times to get the headhunting dossier, and I was hoping for like the 6-star operator, right? So if I pulled 60 times and then I get the 50-50, I was gonna, you know, pull 10 times more, because I would still have enough gems to, or like pulls in general, to get Yvonne, right? To guarantee Yvonne, because of the headhunting dossier, because of the five limited time permits from the daily login, and the ones you can buy from the Arsenal exchange as well. Taking into account all of that, I would have enough to saved up to pull for Yvonne, right? But I got lucky, and the 6-star operator came on the, like, I pulled 60 times, but the first 50-50 came on pull 59, or on the pull 69, you know, and considering this. It's like when I was pulling, right, in Gilberta's banner, I pulled 60 times in total, and I got Levitane, right? Levitane. So like, my plan for Gilberta's banner was, I'll pull enough to get to the first 50-50. Then hopefully I would get Gilberta, because she's a pretty good support for like any team. And then I would still have enough to pull and guarantee Yvonne on the next banner. And on top of that, in Yvonne's banner, I'm gonna get to the 50-50 again, maybe more than once, right? Which will give me a chance of, you know, getting Gilberta, or maybe I'll just get Levitane again for some reason. And the Yvonne's banner, I could either get Gilberta or I could get Yvonne. right, early, and then that would just, basically end my pulls. Right. The best case scenario was pulling 60 times in Gilberta's banner, getting her from the 50-50, and then with the dossier that I got, I would have 10 more pulls for Yvonne's banner, 3 pulls for Yvonne's banner, plus the 10 extra here, which would save me 10,000 gems, which is pretty good, considering I would be actually zeroed out, if I go in just from this, I will be zeroed out in Yvonne's banner, and like in the 50-50, I would get Gilberta, and then in Yvonne's banner, maybe I could get Levitain from the 50-50, and then guarantee Yvonne. So I would have like all the 3 characters, right, from the banner so far. Or maybe the other best case scenario would be I would lose the 50-50 and get Yvonne, and then I could pull the 60 more times here to guarantee Gilberta, and then I would have Gilberta and Yvonne, which will like make a pretty good team, right? Pretty solid. And that was my plan, pulling 60 times, hoping for this to come early. If it didn't, I would have to pull 70 times. But anyway, those 2 situations would be the best case scenario. But what happened was I got Levitain, who I wasn't expecting to get, but I ended up getting her. So like the plan now, right? As I got Levitain instead of Gilberta or Yvonne, we'll still be pulling or on Yvonne's banner as the original plan was, but we'll be hoping that I lose the 50-50 and get Gilberta, and I can still guarantee Yvonne, right? Which I will. Like Yvonne, I already know I will guarantee because I saved my pulls accordingly, because Yvonne was my priority here. Getting Gilberta and like Levitain was just a maybe. The thing is, I got Levitain here, and then I still have a chance of getting Gilberta, whatever, in Yvonne's banner, right? While still guaranteeing Yvonne. But if I don't get Gilberta, that's fine. But like basically, my pulling guide will be, I will save all my pulls for one character that I want or that I need, for example, right? In my case here is the character I want is Yvonne. So I'll save up, I saved up for her. And I only decided to pull 60 times on Gilberta's banner because I knew that I could get the 6-star operator and that I would get the 10 extra pulls for Yvonne's banner, making me save some pulls, right? Which I could have saved just from not pulling on Gilberta's banner, but still the chance of getting Gilberta was pretty good because you should save to guarantee the character you want in the featured banner, right? But if the character that comes before is good for them, it's like a good support, or like the character you want is a good support for the character currently in the banner, right? Then you should, if you have enough pulls, you should pull 60 times on this banner to try and guarantee, get to the 50-50, or at the very least to get the 10 free pulls for this one. But it's not worth it. I'll say it. It is not worth to pull 60 times here just to get a 10 free pulls, because that would be like 50 pulls that you used just to get 10 free pulls here, when you could have just used 50, all those 60 pulls here, so only do this or you pull before if you can get the first 50-50, get the headhunting dossier, and still guarantee the next character, which is what I did. Luckily I only needed to pull 60 times and I got the 50-50. So basically the TLDR here, right? Because I keep on rambling, so maybe it gets a little confusing, but the TLDR is, I want Yvonne. I will save up 120 pulls for Yvonne. I will not pull in any other character. I will save the 60,000 gems that I need for Yvonne, right? That is the basics. And that's what you need to do, is look at the characters that are in the banner, that will be in the banner, and think, which one of these do I want? Then you save to guarantee that character. You get the 60,000 gems, or you get 50,000 plus the 10 free pulls that you can get from the 7-day login and the Arsenal exchange thingy, and then you only pull in the banner beforehand if you can get the 60 pulls for the headhunting dossier and the first 50-50, to have the chance of getting the previous character, or just the character that will come later, you know. Here, my thing was getting the 50-50 to try and get Gilberta, but I would still, you know, have this 60 pulls to guarantee 10 free pulls in Yvonne's banner, right? And that is basically my strategy here. I will get, like, always having a save for the character I want, which, by the way, you know, let's be realistic here. I will have like 10,000 gems when Yvonne's banner comes, so that means I won't be able to pull for a while, you know. I won't have enough gems for a while, even though I still have like a lot of stuff to do, you know, in here and just overall on the map as well. There's like this whole area I haven't been to. I'll still have to wait a while, probably until the next version comes, until we can pull again, right, to guarantee a character. So if you are someone who, like, you want to build PD, you want to pull, you don't like seeing this stuck in your inventory, you must pull at the very moment, right, then like this banner system will either help you deal with that, or it's just not gonna be for you, you know. Because here you do need to save, you do need to plan your pulls accordingly to get what you need, you know, to guarantee what you need. Basically, which I don't know if it was basically enough, because I might have spoken in a weird way, or maybe I rambled too much and made it more complicated than it need to be, but this is basically my guide for how to pull in, you know, Arknights. You just save enough pulls for the character you want, and you only pull before if it's the banner right before the character you want, and if you can get the 60 pulls in for 10 free permits on the next banner, and if you can get the 50-50 in the banner before, right, to have the chance of getting the character from that banner and then still getting the character you want, you know, that you saved for, right? So it is like, this banner system, I feel like it's complicated, but it's nowhere as bad as some people are saying it is. You know, all you need to do is just save your pulls, manage it, and like not waste it. I just noticed that this is flickering. So you just need to be smarter with your pulls, and you know, if you don't like saving up, you won't need to pull every chance you get, then like this game is gonna be torture for you, and I'm sorry for that. And something like I want to mention here is like, back when Levitane's banner was still here, right, a lot of people were saying that it was impossible to get 120 pulls. It was impossible to get 120 pulls until the end of Levitane's banner, right? Like, was not possible. This banner is horrible. You can't get 120 pulls in time for Levitane. This game sucks. And like, I don't know why people were saying that, because it is like, it is possible. It was like, in fact, it was really doable. Like, before I pulled here, I had like 76,000 gems, or 78, right? I also had 22 of these permits and like 10 of these, right, that I got from those ways. I hadn't already converted my geometry. So like, I had like 180 pulls. But back in like Levitane's banner, like, I still had 22 of these, the 10 extra permits from these. I had like 40,000 or 50,000 gems. I believe it was 40,000. I had like 40,000 gems, and I hadn't even converted my geometry at that point in time. And like, I was still here in the story. I hadn't unlocked these two areas, I believe, and I hadn't unlocked Wooling. I haven't done like a shit ton of quests. I hadn't progressed on the main story, and I was still like 10 pulls short. From what I remember, I was at 100, like I was 10 pulls short of the 120 I needed for Levitane's banner. And like, that was like 4 or 5 days left Levitane's banner, and I still had like, I was 10 pulls short from the 120. Like, you could absolutely get 120 pulls for Levitane's banner, you know. You just needed to like, maybe like do the story a little faster than what I was doing, because I was just taking my time with it. Maybe like You didn't need to explore everything, you know, in every region to get enough pulls. You didn't need to do every single quest to guarantee the 120 pulls, you know. Like it really felt weird seeing people saying that like there was not enough time, right? Because there was. Like there wasn't enough time, you know, if you were expecting to like be a day 1 player and then like on day 2 you already have 120 pulls. Like that wasn't gonna happen at all. But like you did have enough time. Like 2 weeks was a lot of time to keep on grinding the game, you know, or keep playing the game until you got 120 pulls, right? If you were doing the story and all of that, right? So yeah, basically that's all I wanted to say. Thanks everyone who watched. I wish you all luck for all Evone pullers shall be Evone havers, I hope. And Arknights Enfield is pretty fun, you know. It does have problems. It does need like some stuff to change, like the fucking sanity things should automatically be claimed. I have already lost like 20 or 30 of these just because I forgot about them, and like I lost so much sanity. But anyway, like the game does need some things to be better, right? That's one of them. I also had another thing in mind that I forgot what it was, that I thought this could be better. Oh, hi Enderman. But overall, and like the story especially, like it's pretty basic, right? It's pretty like, here's character likes Enderman, yay, you know. Here's another character, they also like Enderman, yay. Here's another character, he says Enderman's pretty cool, yay. You know, the story is very very simple and kind of dumb even sometimes, but it is just like the game itself is fun and like and all, you know, but like yeah, it does need some improvements, but it's not as bad as some people say it is, you know. Hopefully the, you know, the Arknights fandom won't act like Poppy Playtimes or any like other fandom that gets overly mad when someone gives valid criticism about the game, you know. But I'm talking about constructive criticism, not saying that the game is shit and that they should they should go like out of service or whatever, you know. But anyway, this isn't what this video is about. So yeah, this is all I wanted to say. Thanks everyone who watched. Sorry if like my rambling made it more confusing than it needed to be. I don't write scripts for my videos, sorry. Yeah, hope to help anyone who needed, and yeah, goodbye. See you guys in some other video. Goodbye.